As a holistic herbalist, if the first thing you're thinking of is what herbs to give someone, you've completely overlooked what it means to be holistic. And what he means is you got to look at the fundamentals, like fundamental determinants of health, food, diet, exercise, lifestyle, sleep, all this stuff are social health, all that stuff plays a really big role.
Welcome to the InnerVerse.
One of the key things with a holistic approach to, medicine, but in my context, herbalism is, the symptom is a language. The symptom is a communication that something is wrong, oftentimes on a deeper level within the body. So it's really common, in more allopathic medicine, whether that's conventional allopathic medicine or whether that's allopathic herbalism, right? Which there is such a thing. Basically it's the use this herb for that symptom kind of mindset, which works sometimes, but not all the time. So with evaluation, there's a lot involved, especially these days where, you got a lot of really complicated people with complicated health problems. But one of the main things that we're looking for is what is the underlying pattern in the tissues that's generating that symptom. So, like headaches are a really great example. A headache isn't just a headache. Modern medicine, it's like, oh, there's a headache, take an ibuprofen and your headache goes away. But in more of a traditional approach, people can have headaches for a whole wide range of different reasons and different types. Is it an ocular headache behind your eyes? Is it temporal? Is it occipital? Is it vertex? Like where on your head is that pain? Because different herbs will act on different areas of the head. Is it what we might refer to as an excess type headache, where it's like exploding outwards and the person maybe has like signs of heat? They got like a really red face, red ears, red bloodshot eyes, or are they really pale in the face and everything's like more of a deficiency headache and everything's kind of going inwards rather than exploding outwards? Is there tension? Is there laxity? So, that really changes the approach of what types of herbs that you're administering. So this is a concept we refer to as like constitutional assessment or tissue state assessment, where we're looking at what is the state of the tissue underneath the symptom. So typically what we're looking at is three variables there would be what is the quality of temperature? Is it hot or cold? What is the quality of moisture, damp or dry? And then what's the tonal quality of the tissue? Meaning, is it like overly constrictive or is it overly lax or loose? And that really guides remedy selection. That's one major factor in holistic evaluation. And that gets us more specific into what types of remedies will be applicable for that person, not for their disease, not for their condition, but for the person, right? Because when we're holistic, we're treating people. We're not treating a disease, we're treating people. And I think that's a really important mindset shift that's critical for our success. But the other big thing about holistic evaluation is that we're not just tunneling in on the symptom or the disease or even the underlying kind of tissue state pathology, but we're really looking at the whole person. That's why it's called holistic evaluation. We want to understand their life. We want to understand their story. We want to understand what they've been through, what they've struggled with. We want kind of like a whole timeline of what that person's life is like, where they live, what their home life is like, what their family life is like, what the foods they eat. That's a huge one these days. What are they putting into their body? You got to really have a sense for the whole person. And, that can take a lot of time, especially with complicated cases. Sometimes that can take over 2 hours for initial consultation just to get a really good sense of what's going on for that person. And so, yeah, there's like the process of an interview and intake, but there's also lots of other approaches for getting a glimpse of what's going on inside of the body, whether that's, reading blood work, whether that's assessing the pulse and the tongue, whether that's, for me, utilizing medical astrology as a tool for understanding what's going on in the body. Many people do facial analysis, fingernail analysis. Some people use iridology. There's lots of different techniques for assessing what's going on inside the body. But I think what we see most traditionally used as pulse and tongue is pretty big in most systems of traditional medicine. But it's an interesting process. It's a challenging process. It can get really complicated. It can get really difficult sometimes. It can get really confusing. Sometimes working with people that have very complicated health situations going on. So it's like you're almost like an investigator, like a detective trying to figure out like what's causing this. And I think that's really the main approach, is that we want to find root causes or various roots of that cause. Sometimes it's not always a taproot kind of cause. Sometimes it's a branching rhizome system of causes with multiple contributing factors. So yeah, that's really my take on holistic evaluation is using a variety of tools to really get a sense for what's going on with that person and what might be making them have the struggles that they're dealing with, and then translating that into what types of remedies we would give, what types of foods they should and usually should not be eating, what types of adjustments they can make in their daily routines, i.e. lifestyle, how to optimize their sleep, how to incorporate more movement, aka exercise. People don't like the word exercise, so I just call it movement. It's like just move every day somehow. All of these things are what, in my opinion, a good holistic practitioner does. We don't just give, I remember one thing one of my teachers said is that, as a holistic herbalist, if the first thing you're thinking of is what herbs to give someone, you've completely overlooked what it means to be holistic. And what he means is you got to look at the fundamentals, like fundamental determinants of health, food, diet, exercise, lifestyle, sleep, all this stuff are social health, all that stuff plays a really big role.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I resonated with the book so much, is because that whole person approach, treating people, not symptoms, makes so much sense. And it's where actual lasting change comes from.